This is Dr. B, host of The Dr. B Show and founder of Borja Consulting Group, a company that helps businesses grow through strategy, branding, and marketing. Today's guest is Abi Asija, entrepreneur, land investor, and author of The Land Business. Having bought and sold over 700 land properties across the U.S., Abi shares his insights on entrepreneurship, sales, wealth building, and creating a successful business from the ground up.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. B Show. Dr. B here with the great Abi Asija. Abi, how are you today?
Doing well, Dr. B. Thanks for having me on your show.
Anytime. Thank you, man. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Let's take a deep dive and jump right into it. Um, Simple question, depending who you ask. Tell everyone about yourself.
Name is Abi Asija. Bought and sold over 700 vacant land properties across the U.S. in the last 8 years. And yeah, that's what I do.
I love it. We'll take a deeper dive into that as we come along, right? So, I took a look at your background prior to this podcast, right? So you have a digital marketing, copyright certifications background, master's from Pace University. Did the education help you in what you're doing today at all, if at all?
So, yes and no. So I came to the US as an international student, completed my education, worked 9 to 5 for 10 plus years, got burnt out. My wife was sort of in real estate. She was working for the city of New York as an affordable housing director. And I wanted to do something in real estate and get out of my 9 to 5. The problem was that both of us were Dave Ramsey fans and we didn't want to take any debt. So we couldn't do house flipping, apartments, or short-term rentals, or any of those stuff was out. So but then we stumbled upon land. We saw a guy who would buy properties, like 30 cents on the dollar. He would send out mail, and he would then resell it on eBay and 2x, 3x, 4x his profit. Well, and we saw that and it was like, that's an interesting model. We should test it out. So we sent letters, 500, 600 letters out, out in Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona. And most of the people said no, they don't want to sell their land. But 2 people said yes. So we bought those pieces of properties, we listed them on eBay, and we sold it in like a couple of months, and we 2.5x our money. And we realized that this model works, but we just have to do enough volume so we are able to replace our salary. So that's how it all got started. And 8 years later, we were able to scale it to 700 plus sales.
Holy cow. Old school mailer still works. Still
Yeah.
works,
Yeah.
right? I love that. I love that. We'll get into what you're doing in a minute, right? So, um, you also worked in corporate America for 10 years. Did that help you as far as setting up structure or at least poaching
Yeah.
LPs? Tell me a
Yes.
little about that.
I should have answered. So so it,
You
it
just
it
jumped into
helped.
it.
Yeah, it helped in a way where I learned like how a large corporation works. Like, so I learned how to build processes, how to build documentation when I started my own company. So that was like a good learning process. The reason I said yes and no is because to be a successful entrepreneur, the number one skill set you need is sales and marketing. And neither my wife nor I had any experience. And that's where we paid most of the ignorance tax for the first, I would say, like five-ish years. Because without being good at sales and marketing, it takes a long, long time to scale any company, right? Because you're learning, you basically winging it in the beginning. So yeah, so that's the reason why I said it did not help in that sense, because literally we had zero sales training. Now, I would say that we did take sales training after we started the business, maybe a few years in. And most of the stuff that we learned was like around objection handling. If someone says, "Oh, yeah, I don't have the money," or "I need to talk to my wife," or "I need to think about it," right? Stuff like that. How do you handle those objections? So we did kind of it did kind of help do more sales, but in retrospect, what moved the needle the most was speed to lead, how quickly we responded to our leads. Because when someone goes and buys a piece of vacant land on like land.com, landflip.com, they're not just clicking request more information or is this available on like one listing. They go like request, 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 like 20 different properties. And that means 19 of our competitors are getting the same message from that lead. And if we are responding after 12 hours or next day, and my competitor responded within like 5 minutes, you can see how they already started the relationship with the customer or with the lead. And we have no chance if we're coming back next day. So that was the biggest lesson. Speed to lead is so important because objection handling, no matter how good you are, it doesn't even come into play if you're not starting the relationship with the lead right away.
Agreed. And then like I'm from the school of thought where I even take it a step further in the like early in the process where hoping I'm getting to talk to the right people, right? Because you don't want to like waste your time and spend all this energy on folks that aren't qualified, right? That aren't, so, I make sure that whoever I'm pitching and like you said, right? Even if they're the perfect profile, things come up, but at least it'll minimize that, in my opinion, right? And I think it's
Yeah,
helped me a lot, right? Because you don't want to talk to
right.
people that are broke, not no
Yeah,
disrespect, but like, or not even broke, but that don't fit your client, your ideal profile, right? So,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's yeah, it's the band qualification, right? Budget,
yeah,
authority, need, and timing, right?
yeah,
So those are the four things we look for. I mean, just if someone's not aware, so budget as in like if they have the money,
sure,
authority as in do they have the authority to make the decision, or
sure,
they need to check with their spouse or their parent or whatever. Need as in do they really need the product, or they're just in the market just
yeah,
like exploring. And timing as in are they ready to buy like within the next 30 days, or they're like, oh, I'm going to buy in 2027 but I should start looking right now,
right,
right? So those are the four things you have to qualify for when it's a brand new lead. So we use, and to your point, qualification is so important
yeah,
because if you don't do a good job qualifying, you waste a lot of time with not the right leads. So we follow the setter and the closer model. So we have like six setters in the team who would like all the leads come in, they'll call them and they'll do the qualification. Oh, what's the pain point? Like, why are you looking for land? How soon do you want it? Do you have the money? All those qualification process. And when they qualify, if they qualify, that's when they it comes to a US person for the closing process. So before we didn't have that two-step process and we were wasting a ton of time. So yeah, qualification is super important.
yes, sir. You call that two call close. I always do that.
Well,
A
so
discovery for me is all about discovery, and then like you said, a
yeah,
qualify, and the
yeah,
next one will be I come up with a solution. Even if I have it in my head, I don't reveal all my cards in that first call.
yeah. To be clear, in real estate, especially, I know land
At least
is
in the
technically,
land, in the
yeah,
land asset, right?
in the land space, it's not a two call close. It's more like a 10 call close because it is a
Yes, yes, yes.
high ticket item and
Sure,
they have to do due diligence. So we
of
kind
course.
of like have to educate them.
Yeah,
So I think we last time I checked the stats, on average we have to do like 7 to 10 touch points
yeah, yeah,
with the customer before with the lead before they become a customer. So the first call is always a setter call,
yeah,
and then it gets to closer, and then if they're like all right ready to move forward, then it goes into a due diligence period, and then they have questions. So either the setter or the closer will answer their questions depending on the complexity, and then they might make a payment, and then we'll be like, well, negotiate on the terms, like what's the down payment, what's the a monthly payment, and then we negotiate. So this it's a more complex sales process than just a two call close. But yeah, but the fact that we have the setter layer at the right in the beginning is was definitely a game changer.
no doubt, no doubt. I agree with you 1,000%. The thing is, my listeners are some real estate, some are entrepreneur. Like traditionally in a traditional entrepreneurship entrepreneur setting is usually a 2 call close. But I agree with
Right.
you, 1,000%. If it's real estate, yeah, it'll be 6 or 7. Even if someone was to send me or want to send us like 25, 50K, 100K, yeah, it's definitely more than 1 or 2 calls. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt about it. All right, man. So you kind of already alluded to this a little bit about you and your wife not wanting to wanting to kind of replace your salaries and all that, right? How do you pronounce? Is it Gokce Capital? How do you?
Gokce Capital. Yeah.
Gokce,
It's like
Gokce,
Dolce. Yeah.
Gokce
Yeah.
Capital, right? All right,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good. All right, so I think you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but tell me a little bit about Gokce Capital and how and the origins of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, so this, we started the company in 2018, just a brief history on why we chose the name Gokce, because we wanted, so at that time, SEO was a big thing. So we wanted Google to dedicate the whole page to us. So if you come up with like a unique, like Sequoia Capital or Goldman Sachs, like if you have like a very specific name that no one else like comes even close, because we saw our competitors getting company names like, oh, beautifullandinvesting.com or landisgold.com or like something with the land. And the problem with that is if you Google it, there are like a lot of different companies with a similar name. So Google didn't dedicate the whole search page to you. So we're like, we need to come up with a unique, name so unique that no one even has thought of it in the US, right? So at the time we used to watch like a show, it was like a Turkish show on Netflix, and there was this character named Gokce, and she was like, and we're like, well, we don't know how to pronounce it, and we Googled it, so it sounded like Dolce, right? Like Dolce and Gabbana. So I was like, huh, we could call ourselves Gokce. That's such a unique name. No one will ever think of it in the US. So that's how we came up with it. Just like an from an SEO perspective, it was, and it did work from an SEO perspective, where someone will type in, we'll have on the right hand side our company profile and all that thing. So it did work in that aspect. But on the flip side, people wouldn't know how to pronounce it, and they'll be like, well, is this even a US company? So, pros and cons. In retrospect, it's probably not super good idea to come up with like a foreign name
Uh,
for a US company. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, I mean the cards have been dealt, so we're gonna stick with it. But yeah, so that's how we got started. We named it, had a unique name to stand out in SEO. We did spend a lot of time on SEO. We created like 500 plus blogs. This is pre-chat GPT, by the way. So these were like manually
oh
written.
man, like, holy cow! Because now you can just use
Yeah.
AI and just spit it
Yeah,
out in
yeah,
30 minutes or an
pretty
hour.
much.
Yeah, yeah,
Now there's like no utility in in creating a blog, right?
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we spend a lot of time. We did generate a lot of traffic from SEO back in the day, and a lot of them were converted to leads. So that was the origin story. My wife and I started this, and at first we had our W-2, so we were running it like a side hustle. We were working after hours, weekends, kind of thing. And our goal was when our terms income, the properties that we sell on terms, when the terms income, monthly terms income is equal to the monthly salary that my wife is making, that's when my wife will quit the job. So as soon as that happened, she quit. And then few years later, it replaced my salary. And then I stayed an extra year or so just to be extra safe. And then I quit. And yeah, and then now we're like 100% employed by the business.
All in. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, so now tell me about your team now. So now you have setters and closers. Explain
Right.
today. Like
Yeah.
fast, I want to fast forward today.
Yes. So it's a 17 people team. So we have like a front office, middle office, back office team. So front office is people who actively talk to customers. So these are our setters. We had a US closer. Now it's my wife right now who does the closing. So mostly we do a very good job on setting and lead nurturing, because we just want the best people to make it through the funnel. And because my wife Erica, she acts as the final closer, so we don't want to waste her time.
Yeah.
So we make sure that it's all filtered out. So my wife only does like one Zoom call, and that's like a closing call, and then it goes back to the lead nurturer person, and they take over from there. So that's how we set it up. So we have like 6 people in the front office, plus my wife, so 7, and then we have 6 people or 7 people in the back office. So this is like people doing due diligence on properties, marketing, stuff like that. And then we have 2 people in middle office. They're like document processing, making quality assurance, making sure everything is running smoothly from like a pipeline perspective. Are the deals moving smoothly? And the rest few people I have is on the video team. Like they do video editing. They would do photo editing, drone photos, putting boundaries, like short YouTube shorts, YouTube lives, repurposing, stuff like that. So yeah, total 17 people team.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. What did building a seven-figure business teach you about goodwill, speed, and trust? We spoke about
Yeah,
speed, right? And
yeah.
talk about how speed kills, or speed, as they say. Tell me
Right,
about
right.
that.
Yeah, so I'll start with goodwill because that's like so the book that I wrote, The Land Business, it's more of a principles book. And the first principle in the book is the amount of money a business makes is equal to the amount of goodwill you have in the marketplace multiplied by number of offers you make to your customers, right? So what does that mean? So number of offers, if you think about it, is like, every Fortune 500 company does it. Like, in fact, I use this coffee shop example. Like, if Dr. B, you and I live in a small town, we have our own cafes. You people come to your coffee shop and they say, "Oh, Dr. B, I would like to have a small cappuccino." And then you have this nice conversation with them, and you say, "Well, you should really upgrade to large because then you get free pastries or free croissant, and you get like a cookie or like whatever, right?" So you make like 4 or 5 offers as part of your nice conversation when you're having with the customers, as opposed to when they come to my coffee shop and they say, "Oh, I would like a small cappuccino," and then I just serve it to them and say, "Thank you, thanks for coming in," right? You can imagine if 100 people are coming to your shop, 100 people are coming to my shop, at the end of the year your revenue will be ridiculously higher than mine because you make like 5, 6, 7 offers per customer, right? So every big business makes a ton of offers if you pay attention to it. So I'll give you like a couple of examples. So one, rent a car, right? You go there, you're like, "Oh yeah, it's $19 per day." And then you go there, you're like, "Oh, will you like to upgrade to a SUV? It's supposed to snow. Do you want a 4x4? Do you want a car seat? Do you want a ski rack? Do you want a GPS device? Do you want to prepay for gas? Do you want to upgrade for like collision insurance? Do you want like whatever the thing, like whatever they like part of their like premium insurance or whatever, right? So they make you like 5, 6, 7 offers as when you book something. And the reason they're doing it is because they know the more offers you make, the more people will take it and the more revenue it generates. It's similar to like McDonald's. Would you like fries with it? Would you like apple pie with it, right? You go to book a plane flight. Oh, would you like to extended leg room? Would you like, and then on the plane, would you like this? Would you like that? Would you like a meal with it? Would you like a fruit and nut snack, right? So the more offers you make, the more money the business makes. And small businesses usually don't think like that. They're like, "Oh, I have this widget or I have this land I sell," and they sell this land and that's it, right? So the more offers you make, the more money your business will make. But then you can't just willy-nilly make more offers and expect them to be accepted if you do not have goodwill in the marketplace, right? Because if going back to the coffee shop example, if Dr. B has been, say living there for like 20 years, he's known in the community, he has a YouTube channel, he volunteers, right? He has a lot of goodwill in the marketplace. When people go there and Dr. B says, "Oh, these coffee beans just came from Costa Rica, people love them," and he makes that upsell offer, people are more likely to take that offer because Dr. B, has a lot of goodwill and they know that he's not just trying to make extra buck, he also is looking for my interest. So that's the reason why you don't just want to focus on making more offers. You also want to first focus on building goodwill and then think about making more offers. That's why in the formula, goodwill comes first and making offers comes second, right? So
Makes a
that's,
lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense
yeah,
why, like, even like with me with my own thing, right? So yeah, I have a book, I have a course, and obviously investments, right? And the reason why I've been successful, right, is because of my reputation and goodwill, what I've done for others, building that trust. So goodwill, offer, trust. Makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Yeah, so that's that. I would say to distinguish between trust and goodwill, the way I define it
Sure.
is like I give this example in my book where I say that I have 100% trust, for example, in my accountant. He has been doing land taxes for like 20 plus years. I know he gets them right every time, but he doesn't have a lot of goodwill towards me. It's because every time I reach out to him, he's not going to respond. I have to follow up multiple times, or he might take a couple of weeks to get back to me, and it's like stressful. So he doesn't put in a lot of effort in customer service. So I hesitate in recommending him to other investors and other friends. And so you could have a lot of trust in the marketplace, but not have a lot of goodwill, right? So you really need goodwill to make offers. Because if my accountant comes to me and say, "Oh, I have this new bookkeeping service that you should look into," I'll just say, "No, thank you." Because I know it's going to be painful to interact with him, and he doesn't put in effort in customer service. So I only use him for a very specific problem that I need to solve, which is to do my land-based taxes, my corp entity taxes, right? So that's why you want to not just have a book, not just have a YouTube channel, but also have like real goodwill where you take care of your people, your existing customers, so that word of mouth and referral traffic kicks in as well. So there are like a lot of benefits of building goodwill in the marketplace, but the biggest benefit is that it also allows you to make a lot of offers.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Speaking of offers, right? So, um, what four types of offers every business needs, and where do most people fall short?
Yeah. Um, so there are four types of offers. Going back to like large businesses, pretty much every Fortune 500 company uses all four types. And as small businesses, small business owners tend to make only one type of offer. So unless you're making all four types of offers, you're leaving money on the table, right? So there are four types of offers. Going back to the coffee shop example. So the first type is attraction offer. So say, 12 to 2 p.m., it's a slow time for our cafe. Not a lot of people come in because they're out for lunch or whatever. So say we put a sign out and say, well, if you come in between 12 and 2, anything in the store is 10% off, right? So now we're attracting people who otherwise wouldn't come in, right? So that's the first type of offer, attraction offer. The second type is upsell offer. So if someone comes in, they want cappuccino, and then we're like, well, would you like a pastry with it? Would you like a croissant with it? Would you like this coffee mug with it? We have this special one. It doesn't spill proof, and so we have this conversation and make bunch of offers to upsell them into buying something else, hopefully more expensive. So that's an upsell offer. Um, the third type is downsell offer. So if someone says no to an expensive offer, you downsell into a cheaper one. So example would be going back to that coffee beans, like, oh, these 5 pound bags, selling for $99 just came from Costa Rica, and they're like, that sounds really enticing, but I don't want to spend $99, right? So you can downsell them and say, oh, well, that's totally fine. We also have a 1 pound bag for like $20, right? So that's the third type of offer. And the fourth type of offer is continuity offer, which is like a membership or a subscription. So if someone comes in, they've been coming in multiple times to your cafe, you'll be like, well, you come here often. Why don't you become a member of our coffee club, and you get these coupons in the mail, you get access to after our events, you get like a t-shirt or whatever, right? So those are the four offer types that pretty much every business should be using. But since only like very successful businesses understand it and they leverage all four. So how do we use them in land? Just to give you an example, attraction offer will do like free land giveaways like twice a year. We'll be like, comment on this video and then we'll give away free land and we'll do a live drawing on YouTube. So it generates traffic. It brings in people who otherwise weren't interested. Um, we'll do like $1 down every now and then, Black Friday special or Memorial Day special. Usually we do like 10% down. We'll do like $1 down temporarily. So that's our examples of attraction offers. Upsell offers, someone comes in for 5-acre property in New Mexico, we'll be like, well, would you want to upgrade to a 10-acre parcel? It has better road frontage, it has more like better views or whatever. So we're upselling them into a more expensive purchase. Downsell offer would be like, oh, if someone says no to that 10-acre, we'll be like, well, there's also a 1-acre parcel which is like adjacent to your land that you just bought. So, and it's only like say $7,000 instead of like the big one for like 40. So that's an example of downsell. Continuity offer, the way we use it is like, oh, join our land membership club. You get discounts, you get access to inventory that's not on our page yet, like pre-market inventory. You get concierge support. You can call. We get like a special phone number. You call them and you get like human picks up every single time. We expedite your deed recordings. You get like 10% off of closing costs. So we build in, like, we stack a lot of offers that helps people or want them, make them want them to be part of the membership, right? So that also brings in MRR, monthly recurring revenue. So I encourage anyone listening to this to think of different offer. Think of different offers within these offer types, but try to use all four of them so you can maximize revenue.
I love that. Fantastic. I wrote it down. That's what I was. I had was like that makes sense. That makes sense. Why the successful companies attract, upsell, downsell, and or have some sort of membership model. And I think a lot of the
Right.
successful ones have that.
Yeah, pretty much every Fortune 500 company does that. Like if we talk about that, going back to the same car rental example, right?
Yeah.
What would be their attraction offer? A lot of times you'll see, oh yeah, rent a car for flying to Vegas, just rent a car for $9 per day. And you're like, whoa, I'm going there for 5 days. So that's like $45, right? And then you go to the counter and they're like, well, that's like a Nissan Versa, which is like a tiny car. You really want to be cramped in that car? You should upgrade to a BMW or like a midsize, right? So then that $9 becomes 29, and then they're like, well, you should upgrade to this, upgrade to that, right? All sorts of upgrades, right? So attraction offer made you want to book for that car, like say budget versus enterprise. If budget had this special going $9, you will go with budget. You're like, well, why would I pay 3 times the amount, right? So budget attracted you, right? Who otherwise you would have picked Hertz, right? So that's how attraction offer works in that industry. Upsells we already talked about, right? Oh, would you like to upgrade a car, upgrade insurance, prepay for gas, car seats, all sorts of stuff. Downsell is like, oh, would you like liability insurance goes up to $2 million? And it was like, no, 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 that's too expensive. Like, well, you should at least get the state minimums then, right? Kind of thing. So they downsell you there. Continuity. After you return the car, you get a mail. Oh, I hope you had a good experience. Would you like to become part of our membership? So next time you come in, you don't even have to stop at the counter, go straight to the car, right? And then you get all these benefits. So yeah, so pretty much every successful company you think of, they're using all four types, and small businesses are like notorious for not using all of them.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. Um, why do great offers make outcomes feel fast, easy, and low risk? I think you already alluded. I think you already
Yeah. So it is. So when you are constructing an offer, it is important. I'm glad you brought it up. When you are constructing an offer, first of all, it needs to solve a problem. It cannot be random, right? So by um, them, like the car rental company saying, would you like a GPS, is essentially solving a problem, because you might be going to like rural areas where there's not a lot of reception, and you need a GPS. So they are solving a problem. When they say upgrade to an SUV because it might snow later and you didn't think about it, so it is they are solving a problem, right? So you want to construct an offer whenever you think of upsell, downsell, continuity. You want to think of constructing that offer in a way that's actually solving a problem and it's not random, right? So that's first thing. Second thing, the offer has is more likely to be accepted if it feels fast, easy, and risk free, right? So if they say, oh yeah, this GPS device, we'll just put it in the car, you don't have to do anything, kind of thing, it's already plugged in, it's already charged, kind of thing, right? We make it fast. If you say, oh yeah, for that GPS device, you have to go to that counter, uh, give them this receipt, they will give you the GPS, you have to charge it first, right? If they make it harder, you'll be like, you know what, never mind, I'll just use my phone, right? So making it fast and easy helps people to take that offer, right? And then there's also risk free, right? That's very important, because people might be like, oh, what happens if my car gets dinged, I don't want to pay, or like I get into an accident. That's why it's like, oh, well, you have this, that's why you want to upgrade to this premium insurance, because we'll cover everything, right? So that's why their offer is kind of like taking care of all those components, because when you make an offer like that, fast, easy, and risk free, the chances of them accepting improves a lot. Like in land, for example, right? We'll be like, a lot of people are hesitant. They're like, oh, I don't know if this land will be a good fit for me. Like what if I buy this and it turns out it's not the right land for me? So we give them 365-day exchange guarantee. Like within the first year, if they want to exchange to a different piece of land, they can do it. All they have to pay is just pay the closing costs, and they can exchange for free. That kind of like helps us sell even more land, because people are like, oh, so it's essentially risk free for me. Like because I'm, for whatever reason something goes wrong, or I don't feel like this is the right fit, they have land in like 30 different counties, so I can always switch over to another piece of property, right? So it makes it a no-brainer to buy land from us, right? So that's risk-free. We also make it fast and easy. Like if they're like, oh, everything is online, you can add to cart, check out the land, almost like buying something from Amazon, and it will generate the paperwork. We sign the paperwork, and then either it goes to title, or if it's in-house, it comes to us and we do the paperwork right away. So we make it very fast, easy, and risk-free. Now, those are the main components. There's also, like, if you want to make it even juicier, there's also components of scarcity and urgency that you can add. Like, you can make it urgent, like, oh, this $1 down offer, it expires in this Friday. So it kind of like adds a little bit of an urgency for people to act, because inherently a lot of people are like lazy. They're like, yeah, I'll look at it later, but they never get to it. So those are the things you want to do. Or scarcity is like, oh, this is the last property in that subdivision. So if you miss this one, we are out of inventory, right? So it also adding that urgency factor, which helps in the conversion rate.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that insight and for those examples. We're winding down, and one of the questions that I wanted to ask, I didn't want to omit, was you alluded to it earlier. Why does speed beat persuasion in sales?
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Persuasion is all about, as I mentioned, all the trainings were around objection handling. How do we persuade people to, like, to take action? Because if you think about it, like, people, like, if we are once again running a coffee shop, or we're running some kind of a service based product, 100 people come in, 10 people will pretty much always buy, 10 people will never buy no matter what you say, and 80% of the people are like maybes. And it happens to us in land space, right? Pretty much 80, like pretty much everyone who comes in is like a maybe. Oh, I don't know, they're on the fence, right? There are some people who would like occasionally just won't even talk to us. They'll do online checkout. They'll say, "Oh yeah, I saw the YouTube video. You guys are legit. I already know it. I just want my land and be on my way." Right? But that happens every now and then. So 10% of people will always buy, no matter what you say or do. And then there are 10% of people who will reach out and they'll say, "Yeah, I'll never buy this and that." Right? So our goal as salespeople is to make sure that 80% of the people, we somehow persuade them, right? Not necessarily to buy, but to make a decision. That's what I think about, right? So when when we first started doing sales and we got the sales training and we were talking about how it was all about objection handling, the frame was, oh, we want to persuade people to a yes, turn maybes into yes. But the problem with that approach is that puts pressure on you, and that's misaligned with what they actually want. Because what if the property is not a right fit, right? And if you're going through the lens of, oh, I want to turn every maybe into a yes, then you might not be doing the right thing. So the way we like to think about it now is, instead of trying to convert every maybe to a yes, we want every maybe to be converted into a decision, either yes or no. So internally we call it, or in the book I call it, decision. The decision is the product. Your job is to make sure the person on the phone call makes a decision, either a yes or a no. It doesn't matter which way that person goes, but as long as you help them make a decision, you did your job. Because that also takes the pressure off, right? Because then you go into like closing percentages and this and that. But if you're pure in your thoughts and you're just trying to do the right thing, and you think of it from this lens that you're just trying to have them come to a decision, then it takes the pressure off. You're actually helping them, and it makes everything very smooth, and it helps you build goodwill. So
That's a good
that's what I
mind
would
frame.
say.
That's a good mind
Yeah.
frame to kind of like think about, because, like you said, if you think about it from just a number standpoint or objection, oh, sell, 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 yeah. But if you think about it from trying to solve a problem, and if this your solution, your product or service is that solution, then yeah, you're seeing it from a different prism. So I agree there. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So yeah. So speed we already talked about, right? Where the
Yeah,
faster you start the relationship, the faster you get a chance to help them solve their problem. But that was the other nuance I wanted to get into, is that you don't necessarily want to convert all the maybes to yes. You just want to convert all maybes to either yes or no. So we're helping them. And if they're a no, it's a no. We still try to help them. Like if, for example, if someone comes to us and they say, "Oh yeah, I want to, this property is in, say, Marion County, Florida, and they want to put their RV on the lot," right? And we know Marion County doesn't allow RVs. So clearly we're not going to push them to buy that lot, because we know they're going to find out sooner or later that RVs are not allowed. So in that case, we'll tell them honestly, help them like make a decision that it is not a good decision for you to buy this property, because it's not going to fit your use case. But we also try to help them in the way we're like, well, but there are like these 5 other counties in Florida that do have prop where it is allowed for you to have, you can store your RVs or you can live on the property. And even though we might not have land in those 5 counties, we'll still like help them out and say, well, reach out to this, go to this website, search for sellers here, talk to this person at the county. They might give you more directions, and so on and so forth. And the reason we're doing that is just because the person is a no doesn't mean that we don't want to have a relationship with them, because they might down the line come back to us, or they might refer us to someone else.
makes a ton of sense. A ton of sense. Tell us about the book. You've been giving teasers here and there. Tell us about your book.
Yeah, so the book's called The Land Business. So it's essentially, writing a book is very painful. Dr. B,
I
you
have
already know
been
this.
there
I've seen your
twice.
books. Yeah, it's very, very painful. Even
Yeah,
with AI, it's
yeah, yeah,
extremely painful.
yeah.
So I have no plans of writing another book. So I wanted this book to be like the most evergreen book possible in the land niche. So that's the reason why I chose not to write a how-to book. I chose to write a principles book because I know if I wrote a how-to book, it's going to get outdated in less than 2 years, right? With all the new tools and everything coming in. So I wrote a book on how to scale from 0 to 7 figures, 700 plus deals, and how to think about building that company that actually turns into like a legacy play where it's generational company for you, generational wealth for you, and it keeps giving. So how you think about building a company like that? So it has 40 plus principles that I distilled it down to, and things that we talked about in this podcast: goodwill, speed, sales, number of offers, CAC and LTV, like cost of acquiring customers, and LTV, how you think about it. It is an important concept. We didn't touch on it. Just to briefly explain what it is. So CAC is cost to acquire a customer, and LTV is lifetime value. So it's essentially a ratio. Like how much, say, we spend $500 to acquire a brand new customer, and when we sell the property, we make, say, $5,000, right? So that's 1 to 10 or 10 to 1 ratio, LTV to CAC, right? So you want to think of these ratios because you want to know the ratio is because then you know how scalable the business is, right? Because if you're making 10 to 1 gross profit, that means you can redeploy the capital, and then the business grows faster, right? So stuff like that. How do we think of increasing the LTV and decreasing the CAC? Because CAC in generally keeps on going up, right? Cost to acquire a customer, the ad costs, marketing costs, they keep on going up every year. Like 2018, when we first started, Meta ads were so cheap. Now it's ridiculously expensive, right? So how do you think about lowering CAC, increasing LTV? How do you think about increasing the lifetime gross profit per customer, and other sales concepts, hiring concepts, stuff like that, all into like 40 something principles that will help you build a scalable land business.
I love it, man. Our time is up. We're a little over, but I enjoyed our conversation a lot. I knew that when we had the pre-interview in the green room, whatever you want to call it, that I know we'd have a great educational talk. Where can
Yeah,
people find more
appreciate it.
information about the book, about you? I think you have a podcast as well. Where can people find all the above?
Right. So the land business, you can check it out on Amazon. It's free on Kindle Unlimited, 99 cents if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, and it's like $10 if you want a paperback copy. Um, I have a podcast. It's called Honest Wealth Builders. So I interview other founders in real estate niche, also outside real estate niche, and we do strategy sessions. So a lot of the principles in the book are not necessarily just for land. These are principles that can be applied to pretty much any business. So I love, strategizing with other business owners and learning from them and hopefully adding some value as well. And then if someone wants to get into the land business and they want to like be part of my mentorship that I offer, then it's honestwealthbuilders.com, and they can set up time with me to discuss if I can be of service and help them get started and transfer over from their 9 to 5 job to a successful land entrepreneur.
Abi, thank you so much for being on my show. It was a fantastic conversation, and we'll do it again sometime down the road.
Yeah, Dr. B, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you. Abi Asija, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care.